What's going on YouTube? This is JabberTech, and today we're going to take a look at two of the best WearOS devices on the market right now, and they couldn't be any different. They couldn't be any much not the same whatsoever. Of course, I'm referring to the TicWatch Pro 3 Ultra here, as well as the brand new Galaxy Watch 4, and hopefully help you guys decide on which one you should buy. I've done full reviews on both of these watches, guys. I'll leave those links down in my comment below. But let's just talk with some of the key specifications of these watches. Now, I'm not going to make this a spec-heavy video, but I just want to give you a little bit of an insight about what's running under the hood of these two watches here. The TicWatch Pro 3 Ultra sits really nicely on the wrist. It has a 1.4-inch AMOLED panel on the front. Does have WearOS 2. It is also running Mobvoi's own spec'd up 4100 plus processor, and it has 1GB of RAM, 8GB of storage, and of course the number one thing about TicWatches is this dual layer LCD technology screen on the top, which kicks in and really saves you a ton of battery life. I'll get into battery life in just a little bit, but it's a 577 milliamp hour battery, 810G certified, IP68, all of that good stuff. There's also a speaker and microphone on both of these watches, so taking calls from your wrist is not an issue at all. Putting the TicWatch Pro aside for a second, this is the Galaxy Watch 4, and I did put a little bezel protector on the top of it just to give it a little different feel. I'll leave a link for this down in my description if you like it. But this is the Galaxy Watch 4, and it runs Samsung's own W920 processor. It has 1.5GB of RAM and 16GB of storage, so a little bit more RAM and twice the storage available than the TicWatch Pro does. It also has a 1.4-inch Super AMOLED panel. 361 milliamp hour is the battery. It's also 810G and IP68 ready. But also, guys, you have this pretty snazzy, pretty cool rotating bezel that is super useful. Once you get used to that, it's pretty hard to go back to a watch without it, but the rotating bezel is here, as well as some health features that you won't find on the TicWatch Pro. The band is 20mm on this one, and the band is 22mm on the TicWatch Pro. And that's all of the specs I'm going to talk about. If you want to know more specifications, check my link down below. But these are these two watches. I think they're both pretty stylish. Let me know which one you think looks better down in the comments below. Just to give you a size comparison on the wrist, they're both about the same. The Galaxy Watch 4 is just a little bit taller, a little bit thicker than the TicWatch Pro 3, but really no significant difference on how it feels on my wrist at least. I think they're both beautiful watches. Unlike the Galaxy Watch where it has this rotating bezel, the TicWatch has two buttons on the side, and so does the Galaxy Watch actually. You can program the top button on the Galaxy Watch 4, and you can program the bottom button on the TicWatch Pro Ultra. I'm just going to call this the TicWatch instead of going over that long name of TicWatch Pro 3 Ultra GPS. That makes me a little bit winded, and I'm just going to call this the Galaxy Watch, but just know we're talking about Galaxy Watch 4 and of course the Ultra. Now the TicWatch Pro has always been a winner when it comes to battery life because of this dual layer technology screen, and I think it's very useful and it's very viewable in daylight as well thanks to being an LCD panel, but you get relevant information at all times. You get the date, the time, your steps, you get the seconds, and your battery life right down here. Mobvoi's Essential mode is what controls that LCD panel, and you can turn it on manually. It can be turned on automatically. You can turn it on by time and turn it off by another specific time. You also have a backlight which can be enabled as well, and that comes in really useful, especially at night. What I like about it this year too, when it comes to that backlight, you do have a color switcher. So you have about 18 colors that you can choose from, and it's just going to enable that color for that backlight. When that backlight comes on, it's going to illuminate with your favorite color. Again, I definitely like this. I think they do a nice job with giving us a little bit more customization on the Ultra. The Essential mode is definitely where it's at because you're going to save a lot of battery using that Essential mode. You get about 3 days of usage when you use that Essential mode, and I'll talk about the always on display just a little bit when compared to the Galaxy Watch 4 here. But this is also running WearOS 2. It's a little bit different than what's on the Galaxy Watch. This is running WearOS 3.0, and we'll get into the Galaxy Watch as well in just a little bit. But WearOS 3 is coming to the TicWatch Pro in 2022. But right now it is running WearOS 2, and quite honestly guys, you're not going to notice much of a difference between 3 and 2 on a daily basis. So there's no real benefit to having 3 on a watch at the moment. You can still get YouTube Music on here. You can get Spotify, you can download all of your favorite apps, and you have a little app drawer that looks pretty familiar to people if you have an Android phone. Swiping over, you get all of your tiles and whatnot. Swiping to the other side, you get your Google Assistant. You also can swipe up for your notifications and swipe down for some toggles. Again, I did a full review if you want to find out more about the operating system. But in day-to-day use, no difference whatsoever when it comes to the functionality of the watch. Now the Galaxy Watch 4 has this rotating bezel, and of course it does have a touchscreen. So if you want to access those tiles, you can go ahead and just use the bezel, or you can use your finger. Swiping up will bring all of your apps, and it kind of looks like the Apple Watch style. Again, it is what it is. One's a different style than the other. But the one main difference between these two watches, and the Galaxy Watch 4 at some point is going to get the Google Assistant, but as of right now, that's only available on the TicWatch Pro Ultra here. What's the weather?
Right now in Milford, it's 66 degrees and cloudy. Today, it'll be cloudy.
Where's the closest McDonald's?
I found a few McDonald's locations near you.
The Galaxy Watch still uses Bixby, and Samsung says that the Google Assistant is coming, but we don't know when. And always buy tech for what's available today, not for what's promised tomorrow. I'm not even going to show you Bixby. I didn't even activate her because she's not that useful at all. I'll be really happy when the Google Assistant does come over to the Galaxy Watch 4. But both of these watches, speaking of applications, have all of the relevant apps that you'd ever want. You do have access to the Google Play Store on both of these watches, so you can download your favorite apps that are on your phone, or you can go and search for different apps. You can search for watch faces. There's literally thousands and thousands of watch faces available in the App Store, and Samsung also includes some of their own kind of funny watch faces, if you will. So either way, if watch faces are your thing, don't worry about it. You're going to be able to find tons of watch faces on the Google Play Store or preloaded on the watch. In terms of battery life on the Galaxy Watch 4 here, if you don't use the always-on display, you can maybe get 48 to 36 hours on it. If you use the always-on display, and again, it differs between different watch faces, I'm only able to get about a day, but that's about the same with the TicWatch Pro if you don't use this dual-layer technology screen. If you use a always-on display that comes from the watch face itself, you're going to get about a day, maybe a day and a half on both of these watches, but using that dual-layer screen on the TicWatch Pro, you're going to get about 3 days, maybe even a little bit more. Using no always-on display on this Galaxy Watch, you'll get again 36 to 48 hours. But either way, I think you're going to have to charge these watches a little bit more than you think, because if you use GPS, if you use sleep tracking, if you do a lot of calls from your wrist, you're going to eat up on that battery. It's just going to chip away, and you're going to have to charge it up anyway. And the Galaxy Watch uses this really cool wireless charging puck, whereas the TicWatch Pro 3 uses a pogo-style pin. There's no real difference when it comes to speed. Everything is pretty fast. Everything is smooth and fluid. And then swiping over to the left on the WearOS 2, you get your Google Assistant as well as a little feed. You also get a quote of the day, which I actually like. On the Galaxy Watch, this is where you'll see all of your notifications and whatnot. Both watches have Google Pay. Both watches can use Google Fit. Now, health tracking on both of these watches is really good as well. For most people, you're going to want to know what your heart rate is. You're going to want to know your steps, and both of these watches can do that job very nicely. But what's new on the TicWatch Pro this year is you do have this 24-hour physical and mental status monitoring system. So basically, it's going to use AI to let you know what your mental fatigueness is and what your energy level is as well. It can also detect irregularities in your heartbeat. If you go down here, if you have any abnormal records, it'll let you know if there's some sort of concern. And on the Galaxy Watch 4, you have ECG feature if you have a Samsung device. That's not going to work if you don't have a Samsung device. You also have a pretty cool body composition feature. And it's a little bit difficult to show you on camera, but I'm just going to do it right here. It's going to let you know what your water level is, your muscle mass, and all of that good stuff just by putting 2 fingers on the side buttons. So I think that is something super, super cool, guys. They both track sleep. Again, they're pretty much on par with each other unless you want to know your mental fatigueness or you want to know your body composition. I think for most people though, heart rate, steps, and possibly your blood oxygen level is something that we want to know. Anything else is just cream on the top. When it comes to activity tracking, both of these watches can automatically start an activity if you forget to press that button, and they both do a good job with GPS. They both do a good job with their optical heart rate sensors. Again, they're pretty much on par when it comes to activity tracking. I think both of them do a really nice job.
This is speaker call quality. This is what it sounds like if you take a call on your wrist on the TicWatch Pro 3. Now let's switch over to the Galaxy Watch. And this is the call quality on the Galaxy Watch 4. Which one do you think sounds better? Let me know down in the comments below. Now back to the video.
And when you get a message, you can get a tone on both of these watches. Although the vibration motor on the Galaxy Watch 4 is just a little bit stronger than the TicWatch Pro, but they're both really good. I've never had an issue with not feeling that vibration on either one of these watches. In terms of a ringtone and notification sound, Samsung takes the win because they give you a couple more options to choose from. than on the TicWatch Pro here. But either way, guys, you're going to get a notification. You're going to get a ring on your wrist when you get a phone call. There's some slight differences on both of these watches. They are different watches after all. So it just depends on which one you think suits your needs a little bit better. If you like a more fun and playful type of watch, Samsung might be the way to go. If you want a more purist type of watch, the TicWatch might be the way to go as well. And of course, if you want more battery, TicWatch is a winner. That's a no-brainer. But I really appreciate you guys watching. Thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time.